Hi, today is May 29th, 2026, and here are my poems for the day. The first one is poem number 825 for the year Kitchari. I'll be honest, I was looking for something to photograph so that I could then write a poem inspired by the photograph, but the photograph I took of Trader Joe's Kitchari in a white bowl on a white plate on a red tray didn't inspire me as much as it forced my hand. My plan was to eat the Kitchari and then to make a note to write a poem called Kitchari, but before I could carry the Kitchari from the kitchen to the table, the living room window opened and the bowl floated out of the window in the general direction of the Empire State Building, which is to say, west. I looked out the window and watched the Kitchari curve around that building that went up last year and now blocks what was my already limited view of the Empire State Building, and then the bowl vanished behind that bastard of a building on the southwest corner of 36th and 3rd. Perhaps the Kitchari sits atop of the ESB's spire. If so, I'll never know, as my view is blocked. Poem number 826, Confirmation. When I confessed that thing to a friend and the friend said yeah, meaning that he agreed that I had done the thing that I said I had done, it bothered me a bit. But if the thing I had to confess was already known before I confessed it, then I shouldn't be bothered that the truth of the confession was affirmed. What I was hoping for was to be convinced that somehow my confession was inaccurate. And of course, perhaps it was. Perhaps my friend and I are both wrong. But I don't want to go around looking for rebuttals, as that search may only lead to additional confirmations. Poem number 827, First Communion. When I was in the third and final grade of parochial school, the nuns and or maybe the priest began to make plans for me to receive First Communion at the church to which the school was attached, Our Lady of Pompeii. My father objected strongly, which surprised me a bit. I knew that his religion was important to him, but I didn't realize how strongly he wanted me to follow in his footsteps. For other reasons, I went to PS 41 the following year, and at some point I received my First Communion at my father's church, First Presbyterian, on 12th and 5th, but I never really followed in my father's footsteps. I believe in religion and faith and communion more than I believe in God. Poem number 828, The Unbeliever. There once was a religion that didn't believe in itself. Not only was it certain that all of its tenets and parables were wrong-headed and wrong, it also found it impossible to believe that it could ever be of any help to anyone ever. The religion sat way in the back of the book of religion, fairly close to Zoroastrianism in terms of position, although nowhere near Zoroastrianism in terms of number of adherents or in terms of perceived efficacy. And yet the religion persisted and continued to exist, and at some point a desperate few clung to it with all their strength and hope, and they found it helpful, and they passed the message along to other sick and suffering people, and over time the religion had become a solid institution, and many people testified that the religion had done for them what they could not do for themselves, and the religion no longer felt useless and worthless. And although it remained certain that all of its tenets and parables were wrong-headed and wrong, the religion was equally certain that it had purpose and direction, and most importantly, the religion believed that it could help those who believed in it, even though the religion continued to not believe in itself. And the last poem of the day, poem number 829, Sexual Inventory. I've decided to name the painting that I made earlier this month Sexual Inventory. I've decided to name this poem that I am writing right now after that painting, so it is also called Sexual Inventory. I've decided to name this month's book that I am also simultaneously writing right now after this poem and after that painting, Sexual Inventory. It should be noted that the book and this poem are in no way meant to represent an inventory of my sexual behavior. The painting, which will appear on the cover of the book, was not originally intended to represent such an inventory either, but in retrospect, it is quite clear to me that it does. All right, that's it. Thank you. I appreciate you.